Hi guys, I'm Dilyana.
I'm Marta, and welcome to Velvet Violence, where late night chats turns into deep dives into the dark real-life stories, the ones that stays with you, the ones that make you pause and think, how does someone become capable of all of this?
From chilling murders to notorious serial killers, we don't just tell the stories, we are unpacking them.
It's honest, it's raw, and sometimes very uncomfortable, but it's also a real conversation, like you are right here on the sofa with us.
So get cozy, press play, and join us. And maybe don't listen with the lights off.
Hi guys, I just wanted to pop on here and tell you that we are not licensed investigators or lawyers. We're just here telling a true story in our own dramatic way. Everything is based on a publicly available information and personal commentary. So please, don't come after us. We've watched enough true crime to know how that ends. Bradford, West Yorkshire, 2009. A city like many others. Busy streets, late nights, people coming and going without much notice. And then there is Holbeck House, a block of flats that most people wouldn't look at twice, but inside, lies quietly overlap. People pass through without questions. Some of them didn't stay long. Stephen Griffiths lives there, alone. Inside his flat, nothing looked chaotic. There is no sign of panic, no mess that suggests impulsive violence. Everything is controlled, because long before anything happened, this had already begun in his mind. Griffiths isn't just interested in crime, he's obsessed. He studies serial killers in detail, how they operate, how they think, how they build identity through violence. And slowly, that fascination shifts from interest to imitation. Between 2009 and 2010, women began disappearing. Not dramatically, no headlines at first, because they were vulnerable. Women working as sex workers. One of them is Suzanne Blamiers. She walks into Holbeck House at night. CCTV captures her entering the building. She isn't alone. Behind her is a man, calm, controlled, watching. This man is Stephen Griffiths. Inside his flat, everything is deliberate. This isn't chaos. There is no panic, no hesitation. He uses a crossbow, not a knife, not something impulsive, a crossbow. Silent, mechanical, precise. But what happened next is even darker. Griffiths doesn't stop at murder. He dismembers the bodies, carefully, methodically, and then disposes of the remains in a nearby river, as if erasing an evidence, piece by piece. But here's the thing about the control, it doesn't last forever. CCTV footage inside the building captures key moments, enough to raise an alarm. Police review it. They see him following her, returning, moving in a ways that doesn't make sense. And suddenly, the invisible becomes visible. When police enter the flat, the reality is undeniable. This isn't a theory anymore. This isn't academic curiosity. This is real. 3 women are linked to him. Suzanne Blamiers, Shelley Armitage, Susan Rushworth. 3 lives reduced to a part of someone else's obsession.
Oh my god, I think I have heard something about him, like the crossbow killer, like just pinged in my mind, but I don't remember that much because I feel like it's quite old case, not very old, but obviously almost like 15-20 years ago.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a bit more about him? Like, who was he before all this happened, and about his life maybe previously?
So he was born on Christmas Eve in 1969 in Desbury. I know he had 2 siblings, however, there isn't that many information about them, so I can't tell you much about the siblings. Unfortunately, I don't know even their names, which I believe they probably wanted to stay out of sight of what they realized his brother eventually did. But his parents divorced when Stephen was 13 years old. There are reports that his mom saw a lot of men and she had sex with them in their garden. Like, what the fuck? She didn't care that someone will see her, including her children. So she had sex with some random blokes in the garden, like living a high life. She had a criminal record, but despite all of this, she still managed to put Stephen into a private school. And he was a very high educated guy. He was very intelligent. He did very well in school. However, Stephen had a very dark side. From a very young age, he became obsessed with serial killers. When he was 17 years old, he was arrested attacking a shopkeeper with a knife during attempts of robbery, basically. And it was then when he was sent to juvenile, and he was collecting a lot of crime books. That's all he did all day. He was reading all about serial killers, basically. He was obsessed with Jeffrey Dahmer and Yorkshire Ripper, the Peter Sutcliffe. When he was in juvenile, he was diagnosed with personality disorder, including narcissism and psychopathy. And I feel all serial killers are, narcissists. But between 1987 and 2009, he was seen by numerous doctors. He went to 3 hospitals and he was told by professionals that he isn't suffering from any mental illness, and he was labeled as highly dangerous man. However, despite all of this, he'd been just given medication, all depression pills, etc., and he was sent back to society.
Job done.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like they just wanted to get rid of him, Even though I wanted to point out he already been sent to prison, he did some bad things, he was in juvenile. The doctors even said that he was a highly dangerous man. However, the problem solved by giving him pills and sent back to society. In 1989, he was arrested once again for possession of air pistol. He claimed to use it as just for killing the birds, which later on Stephen dissected them. In 1990, guess what happened again? He was sent to prison again. He got arrested for holding a knife against a woman's throat. However, eventually when Stephen was released, he decided to pursue his studies.
Wow.
Right, yeah, he's gonna be a changed man now. As mentioned, he was very intelligent. Well, he actually went to Bradford University, where Yorkshire the Ripper went also. He was very, very proud of that, apparently.
Wow.
He finished a degree of criminology there. So he was very highly educated. He was obsessed with crime, so he pursued his dream subject. He then started PhD focusing on serial killers, which eventually he became one. But step by step, his behavior basically shown a pattern. So he struggled socially. People describe him as distant, very uncomfortable, and very disconnected. He didn't form any normal relationships. He believed that he was more intelligent than anyone else. Basically, I feel like it's very important because he fits into control from a very young age. As mentioned, he was obsessed with a lot of serial killers. He studied them, but I'm not saying like we're talking about murder and we are obsessed with serial killers. He actually studied them, not academically, but also personally. He was following all the cases, all the murders that the serial killers did, what happened during the trial, what happened when the police caught those serial killers. He literally switched his mindset to the point right, I'm gonna become one day. He had the identity formation. This is, I guess, a key shift. He didn't just learn about the killers. He began to see himself as one. And it was then when he gave himself a name of the Crossbow Killer. Usually the people give the name to those killers, right?
He gave himself
Exactly.
the name, yeah.
Exactly.
So that's sick, yeah. To me, what you're saying, it's so frustrating because I don't understand how even people with, obviously he's been convicted before because of all this shit that he did.
Yeah.
How is he allowed to study in that, even in that subject something? I don't understand, like, how is this acceptable?
Exactly.
It's so weird.
I think it's money, because his mom, you know, she put him into that school. She must have paid a lot of money. Private schools are not cheap whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think at that point, they really didn't look into his background. They got paid and he just pursued his dream studies.
It is crazy, this case. So far, I'm just so shocked. Everything that he did even prior to the murders. So how did it all unravel? Like, you told me because of that video, pretty much. But like, can you tell me more?
As mentioned, there was a CCTV in his block of flats where eventually police looked into it and realized that there is something terrible that happened, which I will tell you all about in a second. But what they saw on the CCTV camera was Susan Rushworth. She was 43 years old, and on the day of her disappearance on 22nd of June in 2009, she basically went off to run some errands. She had 3 children, but unfortunately she suffered with addiction. To make sure that the kids are fed, that she looking after them, she became a sex worker. But when she went missing, her family reported it immediately. It's not like she disconnected from the family. She still did whatever she needed to do as a mother. But because she was a sex worker and also an addict, police really didn't pay much attention to her, unfortunately.
That's pissing me off straight away. How does it matter?
Exactly.
You're still human. You still deserve like the same kind of attention that anyone else would have. Doesn't matter what you do. You've never hurt anybody.
Exactly.
You're just trying to feed your children. Doesn't matter how.
I would understand if she would be, I don't know, druggy, sleeping on the streets, like have pretty much like a low life, you know, no, I don't know, you see those videos in US where they just like, it's called Ghost Town, I believe, where they just lie there, like she just have no family, nothing whatsoever. All they need is just to fix their addiction. But in Suzanne's case, you know, okay, she did what she did for a living, but OnlyFans and all this crap these days, you know, people are still sex workers and they do care about them. Do you know what I mean?
She still have a family that cares about her. Obviously, she got reported, so...
Yeah, I know, but unfortunately, it just didn't stop at her, because on the 26th of April in 2010, 31 years old Shelley Armitage. She was also from Bradford, and she was also a light district worker. She wanted to stop the sex work. She wanted to pursue her dreams. However, she unfortunately got addicted to drugs also. And on the 26th of April, she went to work on the streets. However, she never been seen alive again. Like Suzanne, because she was an addict, she was a sex worker, police didn't really pay much attention to her. 3 weeks later, on 21st of May, another sex worker went missing, Suzanne Blamiers. She was 36 years old. She was very academically gifted. Unfortunately, she started to take drugs also, and at the beginning she worked in a care home, so it was all good and well, but after that, when she became addicted to drugs, she became a sex worker also, and same as the other ones, guys, she went missing and police didn't really pay much attention to her. However, after that, because obviously three people went missing at the same time, police started like slightly investigating what's happening, you know, because there are reports, right? Three women are missing, and I think that was the key point of, regardless who they are, it's just happened in such a short period of time. Let's do something about it, which is very sad that it takes 3 people to get to that stage.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, police went to the Light District and started asking all the sex workers if they know anything about these women, and if perhaps they know if they saw anyone, you know, getting them. Maybe it was the same customer that wanted to obviously see these girls. After that, police realized that the girls went to the same warehouse building that has been converted to block of flats named Holbeck House. While being in those flats, they met a caretaker. His name was Peter G. He had an access to CCTV cameras. Every weekend he went through recordings to make sure everything is okay with the building and with the tenants. Many of people who lived there were under the housing association, and he just wanted to make sure everything was fine. There is no troubles with the tenants, etc. However, what Peter saw on the camera was absolutely unbelievable. On the 3rd floor, he noticed a woman, later to confirm being a Suzanne, running away from Stephen. He captured her, looked at the camera, shown a middle finger, and then shot Suzanne with the crossbow. He then dragged his body to his flat and closed the door. Peter later on, he didn't originally report it to the police. He actually reported it to newspaper called The Sun, and thanks to that, obviously, police get into those recordings later. Saying what I said at the beginning, that people really didn't pay much attention to these women. Police didn't really pay attention to them. I feel like Peter thought, okay, I'm gonna sell those CCTV cameras to a newspaper, cases to become popular.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
For him.
Yeah, so I don't blame Peter to not reporting to the police at all, to be honest. Sometimes you can tell that newspapers, documentaries giving you more highlight on things rather than police, you know?
Yes, definitely.
So when police entered his flat, the physical evidence confirmed everything. So despite all this planning, he underestimating very simple thing, visibility.
Do you believe that he thought he's gonna get away with it just because the women, what they were doing? Was he targeting especially that kind of women, and did he think he's gonna get away with it?
At the beginning, when I just briefly heard about this case, I thought he chose these women because he knew they would be vulnerable. Not many people would care about it. However, the more I started learning about Stephen, I actually think no. I think he wanted to get caught. He wanted to be, this famous serial killer people would talk about. He called himself a crossbow killer. He was a very intelligent guy, as I said earlier. So why he looked at the camera, why he didn't cover the cameras, well, all those things would happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He knew he wasn't stupid. He knew that he will be seen, and then he was petty enough to show a fucking middle finger to the camera. So I think he was very proud of the crimes he committed.
Makes it even worse.
Yes, he was obsessed with serial killers. So I truly believe he wanted to become one. He had his own website where all he did was posting pictures of his crossbows, which he called Skeleton and Jaguar. All he did there was shitloads of pictures of the crossbows, including a lot of posts about serial killers. That's all it was on his website. And he was doing it pretty much all the time.
I'm just curious, because how old was he when he got caught?
He was 40 years old, yeah.
So for 40 years old man, I just want to know, was he interested in women, to have a relationship with them, or was he ever in a relationship? Or what you told me about his mom, I feel like maybe there was some resentment towards women.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. So he was in relationships, but they never lasted long. He had a couple of girlfriends only. Police find out about these women when they were looking into Stephen. However, those women pretty much straight away claimed that he was absolutely terrible boyfriend. He was very abused towards them. Ex-girlfriend Kathy Hancock told the media that she was with him. However, after 2 weeks of being with her, he tried to kill her. He drank her tea when she noticed that something is, not right with her, and asked him, what the fuck is happening to me. He bluntly just basically said, I just wanted to kill you.
What the fuck?
She managed to escape, right? She went to hospital. However, when she returned home, she realized her 2 doggos went missing.
Oh my god.
She obviously, wanted her back. She knew who took those dogs, so she wanted those dogs back. So she contacted Stephen. They've met up because he promised her, yeah, I'm gonna give your dogs back. They met up only for him to hit her to the point that he broke her nose, cut her with a glass, and kidnapped her. He kept her in his flat while he was going to university. So he held her hostage. This is crazy, but apparently his other ex-girlfriend found out about it and helped Kathy to escape.
Thanks God.
She took her to refuge home so she can have a bed to stay, but Stephen didn't give up abusing her mentally. He kept calling her, leaving her very creepy messages, and just basically fucked with her mind. He was so in control. Like, you can hear his messages, like you can hear his voice messages saying like, I won't let you give away, and he started laughing like a clown from a horror movie. It was so creepy. But I was going to ask you earlier, actually, what are your thoughts about Stephen? Do you think he wanted to get caught, or he just gave up on life and just like...
I don't know. I think maybe you're right. Maybe he wanted to get caught, but I don't believe he expected to get caught so early.
Mm-hmm.
I think he thought nobody's gonna care about those women, and he's gonna have like more and more.
Yeah.
And maybe eventually he was gonna get caught, but I'm not sure, to be honest. I can't tell you like exactly. Maybe he wanted to become like very notorious serial killer, but I don't believe he wanted to get catched so early. Maybe.
Yeah. He's still 40 years old, you know. He still managed to get away with other shit earlier. Maybe he felt too proud, thinking like, yeah, you know,
maybe he became too cocky.
Yeah, you might be right. I just don't know. Like, for me, like at the beginning I thought no, but just those cameras, man, it's just quite, you know, it's quite weird that he gave up at that point, made his own name of the Crossbow Cannibal killer, and realized, okay, you know, there is the light, there are cameras, I'm gonna show everyone, I'm gonna show the world who I'm really capable of. I don't know, it's hard to answer that question. It's just obviously our personal point of view, but it's very tricky.
Yeah, to me it's just like so strange, because you said he was very intelligent, and to me I just don't see how are his actions intelligent. Do you know what I mean? I feel like if he was so smart, wouldn't he try to, like, if he wanted to be that serial killer, wouldn't he try to get more victims and to be like smart about it and then maybe get caught? I'm not saying 3 people is not bad enough, but I just think he was so obvious. I don't know, shockingly, to me, I don't believe any serial killers are as intelligent as they think.
But they are, though. I mean, not as they think, but they, like, IQs and Jesus, they're just very, very intelligent people. That but obviously they're getting caught eventually, but they're just so in love and proud of themselves. When you look at pretty much every serial killer, they are very fucking clever people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's, you know, I'm never gonna become one. I'm too stupid for it.
Yeah, I guess we just
I'll be like, yes, I just killed someone, Liana. So we've got a problem.
I did a whoopsie.
Yep. Okay.
It's just, I have no words, to be honest. To me, it's very frustrating how the police handled all this, but I'm just curious, how did he get arrested in the end, and what was he like when he got arrested finally?
At the time of the arrest, he was very calm and cooperative. As soon as police saw the CCTV, they caught him, you know, they went there straight away, they caught him. He was pretending, I believe, that he can get away with it. So he was arrested at his apartment on the 24th of May. So it was pretty much, like I said, shortly after the footage was released.
Yeah.
So he showed no panic, you know, no resistance. Police started interrogating Stephen, who apparently he did say that he's Osama bin Laden. He told the officers that he killed more than Suzanne, because at that point they obviously saw only a video of Suzanne. He wanted to tell them about 5 other women that he killed. He was very proud of it. At that stage, police knew that they are dealing with a serial killer, but obviously they needed to dig deeper. They did ask him, like, where did he hid the bodies? Who was those people he's claiming he killed, but at that stage he didn't really want to say much. He didn't say anything about where he hid the bodies, etc. They did ask him why he done those crimes, and he was like, well, I don't know, I just wanted to. I don't have much time for human race.
What a low life.
Yeah, fucking loser. But before the interrogation, police noted that he wanted to put his stuff on fire, which they asked him, like, why would you do that? And he simply responded, well, to hide DNA, to get rid of DNA.
We already caught you, bro.
Exactly. So in the flat, they have found the crossbows rested on a sofa with the pack of arrows next to them, few bottles of bleach, air fresheners, apparently shitloads of air fresheners, over 15 suitcases, like various sizes, a lot of backpacks, small suitcases, bags, etc., which I believe that's where he put the bodies in. What they also found were various books, including Strange Inhumane Acts, Children Who Kill, Murder in Mind, and loads of horror films.
Yeah.
And slasher films. The officers already knew that this is not a coincidence. They have found pretty much blood everywhere in the apartment. They've asked him about the flat, they've asked about the blood, etc., which he basically said, well, this is my own slaughterhouse.
He was a dick. He was such a dick. I just can't believe it, how cocky he was.
Oh,
and how was like the confidence and everything, and how no remorse whatsoever.
No.
So that just proves he just did what he wanted to do all his life.
Yeah.
And that's what frustrates me. I know, like you said, obviously serial killers are very smart, IQ, blah, blah, blah. But I think you can have all the knowledge in the world and still be stupid.
Of course.
It's like, to me, it's just, that's like the most stupid decisions you can make, he made. And even like, to me, it's not, I can't say, oh, he was so smart, because he didn't get away with it.
No.
So
it's just like, academically speaking, all of these are quite intelligent, but not life intelligent.
Yeah.
Not clever at all if it comes to life. But he referred to himself as the Crossbow Cannibal, and he admitted that he eaten part of his victims. He eventually confessed about the killings after all that interrogation, but he only said that he killed 3 women, and he left the bodies in River Aire. So I believe all those sad cases I was talking about earlier, he was dissecting the bodies, I guess, and putting them into the river to get rid of evidence. They found CCTV recordings, because he had a CCTV surveillance inside his flat. So they found recordings of the women inside the flat and what he did to them.
Really?
Yeah.
Like everything was on...
Yeah. Everything
film.
was captured on the cameras.
That's even worse.
But what stood out to police officers, was his attitude. As we mentioned, he was very cold, detached, and even proud, I would say, of what he have done. So at that stage, he got charged with 3 murders.
Okay, it's pissing me off, this guy, really. Like, even like, I think he could have been caught much earlier.
Yeah.
Because all of the things that led to him doing this, it was through all of his life, there were so many signs that something like this gonna happen. And then after he murdered the first person, he got away with it. He became even more cocky.
Yeah.
He did all that, but nobody cared because of those women. Just because, and I'm not saying nobody, their family did, obviously, but the police could have done much better job. Oh yeah, definitely. And I just hope that what happened on the trial, was it fair? Oh, it was fair. I'm actually quite chuffed of what happened at the trial, but his attitude, guys, again, that didn't change. So in court, Stephen Griffiths behaved in a way that shocked everyone. At one hearing, he suddenly shouted, "Guilty." He then raised his hand in a Black Power salute, which stunned the courtroom.
And this moment became one of the most infamous parts of the case. And because Griffiths played guilty, there was no full trial in the traditional sense, however, the court still went through the evidence and understand the severity of the crimes he committed. So he murdered 3 women, he targeted vulnerable individuals, the killings were calculated and deliberate. He showed signs of obsession and control. After the trial, he had the psychiatric evaluation, which I'm so happy what happened there, because psychiatrists examined Griffiths during the process and they found that he had narcissistic and psychopathic traits, but he was still considered legally responsible for the crimes. So that meant that he could not use insanity as defense, which I'm very, 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 very happy
good.
about that.
Yes.
Every time we're talking about crimes like that, obviously you need to have the psychiatric evaluation, and I'm just so glad that those crimes we covered so far are the ones that they said, yes, he did it deliberately and he went to prison. On the 21st of December in 2010, Stephen Griffiths was sentenced to life imprisonment with a whole life order, which means he will never be released from prison and he will spend the rest of his life behind the bars. The judge described him as dangerous and remorseless killer.
Which he was.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes. I just can't believe it. I just can't believe people can do stuff like that.
And especially going to Bradford University, where you actually, he did some crimes in the past. He threatened people, so it's still a very big case, but he had never killed anyone at that stage. He went to university to study criminology, which would be my favorite subject to study, and that's what I wanted to do. I'm like, yes, I would get into, get into people's minds, and he could find that he would have the best career of his life ever. Great university, criminology, very, very hot subject. But then he did all of that just of purpose to how I can kill, get away with it, and become one of the most serial, infamous killers.
Yeah, which is so fucked up. Yeah,
It is.
Yeah, you're going to university. He probably met a lot of people with the same interests. Yeah, and he's not gonna think like, okay, I can really become someone here. Yeah, I'm intelligent. I'm smart. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't bad looking for some people. Yeah, so he was gonna probably have a very good life.
Yeah.
But what leads you to, I don't know, maybe in my mind, I always think it starts somewhere from the
childhood
upbringing and maybe what his mom, I'm not blaming his mom, obviously, but in his eyes, maybe he just built up so much resentment towards women.
Yeah, that's my thoughts. Yeah, that's my thoughts.
I'm not making excuses or anything.
No.
I'm just saying, like, how?
Yeah.
How did you get so fucked up?
Yeah. Because when we talked about the previous crimes, when there was clearly like a massive abuse, in the childhood, people were like, I was talking about the case about that Catherine recently, she was so much abused when she was a child, and obviously, that's pretty much a massive burden that she had to carry all her life. But with him, something must have happened which we don't know about because he didn't really open up much about.
Maybe, yes.
But then yet, he wasn't homeless, he wasn't abused, as far as we know.
Yes.
He was sent to that university, he was well-educated guy, intelligent, he could pursue his fucking amazing career in the future. It's just, I don't know, it's obviously the narcissist mindset that's just fucked him over.
I would never figure it out, I feel like, because, we say that it might be coming from the childhood, but then you have like cases as Grant Amato. He wasn't abused.
Exactly.
He had the perfect family that supported him through all of his life and everything, and he still did what he did because of obsession, obviously.
Yeah.
But this guy was obviously obsessed with other things, but it led to the same thing, unfortunately. It's so sad.
It is sad. It's he mentioned that he killed five people in total. Obviously they don't know if that's true or not. However, later they started interrogating, started looking for other women, sex workers that went missing, and they trying to pin some women towards him, but that's obviously hasn't been done at the trial. He obviously was sentenced only to killing 3 women, but they reckon when he was so cocky saying, yeah, it wasn't just Suzanne, it was someone else also, there must be a little bit true.
You don't know
truth
though, because
inside
he
that.
was,
Yeah.
as you said, he was 40 years old, so that's long time to, if he had those, urges,
Yeah.
how did he wait so long? And I don't know, maybe there was
They
more.
do
I
have
wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, they do have the cooling off period, don't they? All serial killers have. They kill, and then you've got the cooling off period that takes years sometimes. But let us know, guys, what you think about Stephen. Did he wanted to get caught, or he done it because he was just life stupid? Let us know how we're doing so far. We grown a quite big community on our Facebook group, which we post every time underneath our episode in credits. So please join us there. Join us on every Sunday. We are here with you. Let us know how we're doing, and we will see you next Sunday. Bye.
He wasn't the one who had like for a pet alligator, no.
Pet lizard he had, yeah.
He had, yeah. Oh, yes. That's what pinged into my mind.
Yeah.
Alligator. I can imagine with alligator you are.
A little croc, but pet lizards, yes.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Okay.